everyone, this is Archana here. Welcome to another podcast with me. Yes, this is a podcast with a video. Today we will be talking about your well-being, about mental well-being, about emotional well-being. We all know the world is going through a major makeover. It is going through metamorphosis. And today, to help you to regain this emotional and mental well-being, we have on board with us a world-renowned psychotherapist, Luz Lopez. Luz is a part of my professional network. She's based in Florida, United States. Her technique of bringing about this balance is very unique. The brain, the mind uses a shift of information and processes the information in a way that it heals the person. Yes, to bring about this balance, she uses her techniques which are very unique, very gentle, and has a long lasting effect. So welcome on board, Luz. Hello,
Thank
Luz.
you.
We're really glad to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours, Luz. Thank you. So, Luz, I was just going through your beautiful posts, and in fact, I read all your posts on LinkedIn. They're very informative and very, very engaging. And I came across this beautiful post that talks about change and how can one adapt to change. And as you know, the entire world, we all are going through different changes. There are changes in our dietary pattern, in the way we are spending, changes in our entire lifestyle has changed. We all are living at home. Children are not going to school. Our sleep patterns have changed. In totality, there is so much of change in the way our day looks today. So, I mean, I was just reading this post of yours and I found it so informative, so touching, and it was so nice to take note down all those important pointers. Can you help people understand how to adapt to change easily?
Yes. And thank you again for having me and for taking the time to look at my post. I appreciate that. And I'm glad that some of it has been, helpful for you and for others. And yeah, I mean, the way you just described it so eloquently, there is so much change and it's happening so quickly that it just makes it hard. It's like we're adjusting to one thing, and before you know it, there's another set of things going on.
Yes.
Like you mentioned, people working at home, parents being teachers and being employees, trying to do these meetings while you have dogs barking in the background. You may hear mine from time to time. So many things are happening. So one way that you can embrace change and more than anything adjust to change is it has a lot to do with our mindset in the early morning before we get that going, before we start jumping into the change and the adaptation. You've got to have some time for yourself, and when you're taking that time, focus on what is going okay for you right now. For some people, it's I have my family, I have a home, I have food for today. Really focusing on just that day and spend some time with that. And then also look at what's still stable, because what scares people with change is the uncertainty of change. But there's still things that are stable for us, whether it's our health, whether it's our loved ones, whether it's,
Yes.
our home. There's so many things. Our faith, that's stable for many people. If you have a faith, then you have something to stand on, and look at those things so that when you are going through change, your mind remembers, oh yeah, but those things are still the same, and it's less
Yeah,
scary for us.
absolutely. Great. I think these are important pointers for us. Whenever we are going through change, that we definitely feel scared. We don't know what to do. We're in a state of confusion. But if we keep in mind, because of our behavior, there's so many other things that change. Changes that bring about in the life of our loved ones, in our own life. Then, of course, we get alarmed and we know what is the right course of action. I think that is a beautiful point that Luz has spoken to us about. Great. Luz, you also spoke about, I was reading your post and it was talking about that inner peace is the new success. I mean, how do you, first of all, how do you attain that inner peace? Because there is, today, in today's scenario, there is so much going on that, people, it's changing very fast, rapidly changing. And but then, in this kind of a confusion, in this time where there is no stability, how does one get that inner peace? Why do you say that inner peace is the new success?
The reason that I say that inner peace is the new success is because oftentimes we look to the outside things to give us a sense of peace or a sense of success. We think, well, if I get the next paycheck, if I get the next car, if my house looks the certain
Yeah.
way, we because of our society, and we focus so much on appearances, that we think like it has to look this way. And by doing that, I've gained success. And when we arrive to these places, sometimes we find that, man, I still have something going on inside that's not right. And unfortunately, that's why there's so many people that on the outside look successful, but there's catastrophes. Some famous people that seem to have it all taking their lives because there's something inside that's empty. And it's when we focus on things that they just provide short-term solutions, but don't give us an
Yes.
ultimate reason, to keep on. So what I mean by inner peace is, I mean, for me, it has a lot to do with my faith, my purpose here. My purpose is to help people, to shine a light where people feel darkness, um, to bring hope where people are, walking around thinking, I am broken forever. And here somebody comes and says, you're not, your mind can heal. It doesn't matter what a diagnosis said. You are capable. That's my, that's my purpose. So as long as I'm walking in that, then doesn't matter if I don't have the status quo of things, because I have that peace. And that's the success, because it surpasses anything. It surpasses cars and electronics, which are constantly changing. I'm not chasing that, so I'm not on a rat
Yes.
race. So it's more about, what brings joy to your life. How do you bless other people? How do you find fulfillment? And usually it has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with status. It's something inside of us, and it's our
Yes.
ability to impact lives. So when we find that, and when we can go through life with that, then that's success.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it passes and surpasses the time and everything else.
I think this is definitely. I think, Luz, it's also about contentment. I mean, there is a certain level of contentment that people need to feel. Only then they feel that inner peace. Because for how long can we keep rushing towards things and keep running for them? You can have the whole world at your feet, but then there has to be a certain level of contentment to feel inner peace. I mean, you would be running after the entire show business, and but if you're not spending time with your family, if you're not spending time with yourself, with your god, and doing good to people, then you would just be floating around and doing nothing. So it's actually, you are being everywhere, but you are actually nowhere. So yes,
Yes.
you are right in a way that that inner peace is very much the thing that we are all looking for. And once we attain that inner peace, we actually bring in a lot of happiness in our lives. I think that's very beautifully said by you, Luz. I think that's a great contribution, and I think people should understand this. Uh, People, viewers, I really, would recommend that you follow her posts. There's a lot to learn, and she will really help you understand how you can actually work on your well-being of your you can bring about peace and the emotional well-being. How can you create that balance? There's a lot of important information that you can gather from her posts, the articles she's written, and the beautiful videos she's made. I think this is a real great information, Luz. And in fact, I was just the other day I was also going through where you were talking about gratitude. And I think, because this being the mental health week month, so you were talking about gratitude. You've taken, I think, around 20 days challenge. Am I right?
It was a 1 week challenge, yes. And
1 week challenge.
yeah, and a lot of people joined. There was a lot of messages about how people are like, I never really thought about being thankful for the little things. Like you're saying,
Yes.
it is a contentment, and just to correct, I'm not saying that there's something wrong with wanting something nice. It's not that at all. I'm just saying that it has to be, there has to be a peace within that that's not what you're hanging your star on, because those things disappoint. So yes, the gratitude challenge was nice. A lot of people liked just having that quiet time in the morning. I find that it sets your tone. Your mind gets ready. It's like a sponge. So if we started off with the right ingredients, it's going to continue to be ready to deal with the challenges of life, because they come. So it does make a difference. And yeah, it was nice. Next Sunday I'm having a Zoom meeting. It's totally free. I'm just asking people to direct message me for just to kind of confirm how many people are coming, and I'm just going to provide some tips on there. I'm going to offer a brief intervention, if you want to call it that, just to continue to help with immunity and health. And yeah, it's going to be an opportunity for people to share how that was helpful for them.
Great. I think, yes, you are right in a way. People, we need to understand that there has to be, like, just like there is a starting point, of our wishes, of what we want to earn in life, the way we want to have a comfortable life, achieve success, have the best of pleasures in life. Just as we have that starting point, there has to be a certain end point also, and feel gratitude for whatever we have, and thank people who've made that contribution in our life. I think that also brings in a lot of peace, and helps create that balance in our life. I think that's a very great input, Luz. Definitely, I'm sure people will be benefiting out of this conversation. So tell me, Luz, I mean, are there any exercises, are there any practices that people can follow on a daily basis or maybe a weekly basis, which helps them bring together a lot of balance in their life? Maybe they could be in office, or maybe now that everybody's home, even if they give some time of their entire day in these practices and bring about some balance in their life, what would that be?
Um, I think yeah, and there are definitely things people can be doing. What I mentioned about starting your day with the right mindset is very important. It sets the tone. So if you are quarantined right now with maybe a lot of people in your space, maybe it requires that you wake up a little bit earlier and just try to find a little spot within that space where you could just close your eyes and just begin to prepare. How am I going to spend my day? What is going well for me? What is stable for me? What's an action plan? And your mind will start to provide you all kinds of tips, all kinds of information. It helps you set your tone. Another thing that you can do, that gratitude fitness challenge, mental fitness challenge we did, was a lot about writing out what you're grateful for. So you started in the morning, put a notepad and a pen by your bed, and at the moment you open your eyes, they're all the fact that you opened your eyes is something you could write down. And
Yeah.
then just have some at the afternoon, stop what you're doing, and again, what is going okay. It doesn't mean that we're ignoring the challenges. It just means it keeps your mind appreciative, because when we go into panic mode, we actually, there's biological things that happen in the brain. We flood ourselves with cortisol and things that inflame our brain, our bodies inside. And if we do that, we're not going to think clearly. So if we're challenged, if we've lost our jobs, if we're struggling, then we need to think clearly in order to strategize, which means we need our mind to be at peace. So we start to put things into practice that help our mind slow down, have peace. So yeah, gratitude, that's important. Writing down things that are going on. Another thing I've noticed people do is they're kind of giving tips. I spoke with a woman who said, I'm taking this time and I'm writing out tips for my future generation that I may not meet years from now, and I want to tell them what this was like for me. Tips if they ever have to deal with a pandemic. You never know. I want to give them tips on things they could put away, like have board games or learn a hobby. And I thought that was so nice, because it's letting her
Yes.
think of the future and how she can help someone through her experience. So
Wow.
you can find creative things, but it all starts with your mindset. And it takes some practice because we can get negative very quickly,
Yes.
understandably. So it takes some practice. But yeah, things that create habits that are healthy for your mind are very important.
Yes. Wow, I think this is wonderful. I think what you stated about, once you wake up in the morning, I think you are telling us that, there's a way of conditioning your mind. We are conditioning our mind, to lead our day a certain way. And when we condition our mind, we are in a state when we know that this is what I have designed my day to be like. And if at all we kind of maybe raise our temper or lose our hopes or feel dissatisfied, feel angry, I think there's a checkpoint that gets created automatically because that is something you had not designed. You had designed a very pleasant full day for yourself. So I think that's a wonderful idea that, right in the morning when you wake up, you actually kind of design your day in a way where you can check yourself at each level that it is going the way you designed it. And at the end of the day, what you have is a peaceful day, which turns into weeks, months, and a healthy lifestyle where you have a good interaction with your family because you are happy after all, and you create a happy mood and a happy wave within the whole family. I think that is wonderful. I loved it, Luz. Completely loved it. In fact, what you spoke about this woman, I think this is amazing. To be able to, write down. I think this is more like a self-assessment. And in fact, I read an article today which says that when we are in a state of explaining to children, then we are in a state of self-assessment, because when we try and explain something to children, that is the time when we understand the situation better, and that is the time when can take better actions. So when this lady decided to jot down points for her future generation, she was actually in a state of self-assessment where she could judge that she could have done better maybe, or list down all the possible ways of coming through this a mix of emotional high and so many things going on at the same time. I think this is a wonderful thing that you have brought to the table. Great, Luz. I think it was wonderful. What else would you like to tell our viewers to stay positive and to maintain their calm and that well-being? What else would you like to tell them?
That most of the heroes and most of the people that we read stories about emerge because of situations like this one. We think of Viktor Frankl, for example. He went
Yeah.
to the Holocaust, survived all kinds of things, and then wrote books and then taught in universities. And because of what he overcame and because of what he survived, we're inspired by him. So these are the situations that bring and emerge heroes and legends and legacies and everything. So yes, it's difficult. um I for example, just like most of us, I miss not seeing some of my family members. My birthday passed, and I'm so used to having my family. And yeah, I mean, of course it's not fun, but
Yeah.
the there's a point where we're going to look back at this and people will remember us for how we handled this. And when we look back, how do we want people to remember us? Do we want people
Absolutely.
to look at us like, wow, at that time she called me and checked in on me. Man, she stopped by to ask me if I needed some help around the house, or she prayed for me. How do people remember you? Or are you going to be just a totally overwhelmed by your emotions? Of course we're all scared, but remember there's a bigger picture here, and this will pass, and we'll be left with memories. So I just encourage people, if you're struggling, I know that it's not easy, but people are watching and you can be that hero for someone. So just, tap into your abilities, your God-given gifts, and know that these are the moments where we bring them to the table. It's easy when life's easy, but when things like this happen is when we really have to come out with our gifts and our talents and really shine light. And I know that we're all able to do that because that's how we were created. So shine your light even if it feels really dark, because you will be a hero for someone by doing that. And then to you, Archana, thank you for putting this together, because that's how you shine light, bringing conversations. We all have opportunities to do it. So we're all in it, but let's be light in a situation like this, because there's so much darkness, there's so much arguing out there, and so much dysfunction, and we can really turn that around. And I just encourage everybody to join us, because we need it to do it. The world is better because of people like that.
Yes, 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 wonderful, outstanding. I think this is a beautiful message. We all need to understand what do we want to be remembered as. We all want to be remembered as heroes by our generations to come. So please work towards it. There is nothing like that. There is no hope. There is a gleam of hope. This is not the end of the road. There could be, things going worse, but we are all, God has been kind. We are all here helping one another, and passing on the right message to one another. I think this is something really beautiful. Amazing, amazing, Luz. I think this is a wonderful message. You were also talking about that it's kind of not a good idea to keep hanging on to the past. That is one thing again that brings in a lot of kind of an upheaval in our emotional well-being. How does that happen? How can one let go the past and feel better in the present?
So, and that's a more of a kind of a biological question, if you will. What happens is that when we deal with a situation or an experience that is painful, then
Yeah.
there's almost like an imprint that's left on our minds. And because of that, our minds will keep bringing it back up to us because it misreads the information. And that's why sometimes we talk about something and we choke up or we cry, or it feels, some people will say it feels like it's still happening. One part of our mind knows that it's not, but another part of our mind confuses the information. So that imprint has to be, in essence, erased. And it is possible. But what happens is that a lot of times we go to get help from, therapists, and then it's often, well, let's talk about it. And we keep talking about it and talking about it. And then we start connecting other experiences to that experience. So now the one thing we came into, now it's huge. And instead, with the intention of helping, we sometimes are not very effective at it. So the best way to stop that is to get your mind to recognize that that's no longer
Yeah.
happening. And we know it, but to really, really know it. And that requires, if you're struggling with that, then that requires a therapist that knows how to do that. And it's not what you find a lot of times, but it's very important. And it doesn't happen by repeating over and over the painful
Yeah.
thing, because the more we bring that up, the more our body's going to respond thinking it's a threat, and then our cognition's affected. So we don't want to keep bringing that up. What we want to do is get the good news all the way down. And that's what I specialize in. There's other therapists that I'd be glad to refer that do that too. But you just basically get your mind present, and those techniques we talked about gratitude and things like planning and all of that, that can help too.
Lovely. I think this is wonderful, Luz, that, I read somewhere it's important to bury the past, if it is if it's something negative, then you just need to bury it. I had read somewhere there's a saying that says if you keep, running after the past, that you land up with one arm longer than the other. So it's important to let your past, the negative part of your past, get buried. And if you have pleasant memories, then just live them, but don't stay, literally don't cling on to them. I think this is beautiful, Luz, absolutely wonderful. Luz, I really can't thank you enough for coming on board and sharing this wonderful message with everybody. I think in this short time, you've given them so many pointers to make sure they are able to regain their emotional well-being, which is very important in today's time, to bring together the family and lead and, hold the fort together. Thank you so much, Luz. Thank you so much for coming by. And we are really very grateful to you for this, for passing on such beautiful information, relevant information to all our viewers. And we will keep having you over and over again, because I know you can address these issues and help millions out there, waiting to reach out to you. Thank you so much, Luz. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Thank you very much. And I wish everybody the best. And I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Luz. Have a great evening. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.
Thank you. Bye. What a beautiful session with Luz. She's given us so many pointers we can use to bring about that emotional well being into our lives. All you need to do is to learn to adapt to change. You need to work on your mindset. We need to condition our mind to start our day a certain way and make it happen for the entire day to work in the same fashion, so that we make a deliberation that in no way we disturb that harmonious flow of the day. Of course, we also need to work on our gratitude. We need to give gratitude, to feel that gratitude for all that has happened good in our life. Be thankful to those people who have contributed in our life. Bring about inner peace. It is important to have that contentment in life, to have that inner peace. We need to let go the past. We cannot bank on our past laurels, or stay clung on to our positive negative thoughts or bad experiences. We need to move on. So it has to be a mix of so many things: our experiences, our life experiences, and the current state that we are in. We need to maintain that balance. We need to do certain things and not do certain things, so that there is harmony in the family. When we are in at harmony within ourselves, there is harmony in the family, there is balance of emotions in the family, and everything is happy. I wish you all a very best. Reach out to Luz if you find you would like more help to understand more about this emotional and mental well-being, and she can really help you out for all your concerns. I wish you all the best. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay happy, and stay tuned for more.